Hello everybody. Here for Real Housewives of Atlanta. So let's get into it. This episode was okay. I mean, it was nice to see the ladies getting along, but of course there's a little bit of shade and a little bit of drama in there. So it starts off with Kenya, Sheree, Candy, and Phaedra, Shamia, and Portia. They're discussing the Lake Lanier trip, and they're discussing their upcoming trip to Miami that they go. You wanna say hi? So they were discussing the trip, and Portia, they were wondering how Portia and Kenya came up with the idea to go to Miami. So Portia was like, well, I got the idea from Kenya because we both wanted to go to Miami, so we said, why not combine our ideas and have a redo of have a redo of Lake Lanier. So I thought that was a good idea, redo it, because how Lake Lanier ended, it was ratchet, it was bad, but at least they made up and got it together. So they were saying like this time around Shamia can come because it's Portia's trip as much as it is Kenya's. They were saying Tammy is coming, and they were saying that Tammy is Candy's favorite person in the whole wide world. And Candy was like, I don't have a problem with her. That was just my first time meeting her, and it was just a little awkward. But, it's fine if she's coming. It's whatever. So they all arrive at the airport. And looking at the airport on TV, I'm like, man, I miss that airport. I miss Georgia. I can't wait to go back out there next summer. That's my initial goal, is to go back. Could you keep still? That's my initial plan, to go back next summer and see my cousins and my family again. So I had fun when I went in September. But anyway, yeah, the girls, they get to the airport. They all meet up with each other, and then they finally get to Miami. The house that they're staying at for the, I guess the weekend, it's a beautiful big house. So out comes Shamia. Well, it was guys standing there waiting to serve them with champagne or whatever kind of liquor he had in them glasses. So then out comes Shamia in this little itsy bitsy teeny weeny golden bikini. And she was like, hello ladies, bienvenido. I hope I said it right. Bienvenido a Miami. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Go ahead. Gold member, you do your thing. I mean, she looked cute in her little bikini, but I was like, oh, she ain't leaving nothing to the imagination. Shamia got body though. So, Kenya said in her confessional, Portia sent Shamia ahead on the trip, to prepare the house for us. And she gonna say, you is not important, you is not special, you is the help. And I'm like, see, this is why you and Shamia got beef. Because you always throwing shade at her, and you feel like she threw shade at you at your party because she was asking about your products and all this other stuff. Like, she just, Kenya, anyway. So everybody's picking bedrooms or whatever. They had already said in the on the bus that Candy was gonna get the master because she's pregnant. So since she's getting the master, they're picking and choosing their bedrooms, going from room to room, picking and choosing bedrooms. So Kim is like, well, I'm tired of walking around seeing every room. I'ma just pick my own room that nobody's seen yet. So she opted for the living room, and the living room had chaise chairs, sorry. And a nice comfortable couch, it looked like. And she was like, well, I could just stay here. All I need is, she was like, I don't care. I don't need a blanket. I don't need nothing. This is my room. You see, I got the view, and I got this, and I got that. And I'm like, yeah, simple. That's simple. So, not Phaedra, Portia was like, why are you taking the living room when there's rooms over there? You just pick that one. But I mean, I get it. Y'all walking around trying to decide who gets what room. And then after a while, it's like, okay, can we just hurry up, pick a room, and then go out and have fun? We in Miami. So I'm with Kim. I would have chose the living room too. The living room was nice and big. And then they had 2 living rooms at that. Man, listen, I'd have chose one of them living rooms. I ain't mad at her. So, afterwards, Portia, Phaedra, and Nyla, get down. Portia, Phaedra, and Shamia, they're taking selfies or whatever together. So Tammy Tammy and Kim were hanging out in the living room, well, in Kim's room. Kim was just making her calls to her husband and her kids or whatever. So, Cynthia, Candy, Sheree, and Kenya are discussing Tammy. And, you know, naturally, Kenya had her opinion about Tammy. And she's like, oh, Tammy is like olive oil. Like, she's just weird or whatever. And Cynthia's like, well, Tammy, her personality grows on you. People would say she's quirky and crazy. But you know what? I would take quirky and crazy over shady, mean, and nasty any day. And I'm like, yeah, I hear that. I mean, Tammy may be a little quirky or whatever and a little weird. But she is bringing, like, a little bit of comedy in this group. Because with these ladies, sometimes it's all drama, all shade. And I mean, you need somebody that has that balance of, you know, they bring the crazy, but they also bring the quirkiness. Like, they change up the group dynamic. So, Kenya was like, have you and Tammy ever had... Nyla. So Kenya was like, have you and Tammy ever had a problem? And Sheree was like, I don't really know Tammy like that. I just know she's friends with Bob. Like, they're cool or whatever. If anybody should have the problems with her, it should be me, because she was hanging around my ex-husband. So, you know, that make me side-eye their relationship. Like, is there more than what a friendship going on between them? So Kenya was like, Kenya basically told Sheree, well, when we were in the car going to Lake Lanier, she basically said that Bob, she doesn't think that you would have married Bob if he was a football player, and like basically like you were all about the money. And Sheree was like, well, I don't know how she would know any of that. Like, she doesn't know the situation. Nyla, jeez, girl. This is all the time. Yes, geez. So she was like, I don't know why she must be tight, because her NBA player baby daddy didn't put a ring on it and Bob did, and I don't know why she throwing shade at me. I don't know, you know, I don't really know her like that for her to be throwing shade at me, but you know, she's friends with Bob, so I guess whatever Bob does, she defending what Bob does. So I'm like, okay, I get why Kenya felt obligated to tell Sheree about what Tammy said in the car. But when they had the initial confrontation later on in the episode, Kenya kind of, sort of, just a tad bit, backpedaled on what she said. But we'll get to that soon. So, because I wrote it down, I had to rewatch it. So, Candy is, getting dressed or whatever. Shamia comes to check on her or whatever. So Candy is like, all right, the ladies gotta hurry up. They taking too long to get dressed. Y'all know I like to eat food before I was pregnant. Now that I'm pregnant, I like to eat food more. So y'all gotta speed this up. I'm like, yes. Candy and baby Tucker are starving. And babies, when you hungry, you hungry. When you pregnant, man, everything, your taste, your five senses is just enhanced, for one. And for two, you know, when it's time to eat, it's time to eat. And baby don't play. Baby be like kicking. Baby, your appetite is just, your appetite go up and down when you pregnant. So I understand what Candy mean. Like, they need to speed that up. So they get to the dinner. Dinner is a nice little, you know, it's a nice little VIP area that they in. The guys present the food to them, so they eat and whatever. So Kim told the ladies, you know, just to let y'all know, I am missing my husband and my kids. So I almost didn't make it on the trip because I cried a little bit on the way here. But, you know, I'm going to try and keep it together for the next couple of days that we out here. But I don't know if I'm going to make it. So, they asked about Cynthia and Peter, and Cynthia's like, well, me and Peter are in a better space. We're just working things out, but, you know, it's a lot better than it was before. So, you know, I'm happy about that. So then Sheree confronted Tammy and basically was like, well, I didn't know me and you had an issue, so I just want to find out what's going on. You know, I heard you said some things about me or whatever. Like, I didn't even know you didn't like me. So I'm just trying to find out what's going on. Like, you know, I'm trying to find out what was said. Like, did you ever sleep with Bob? Do you have a problem with me? So Tammy was like, what? absolutely not. We never slept together. We're just friends. And she was like, okay, but I just heard that you said that because I was married to Bob, it was only because he was a football player. And she was like, yeah, I know I said that, but I never, she was like, me saying that I didn't like you, that never left my mouth. So Portia was like, well, just to be clear, who brought back that information to you? And Sheree was like, well, Kenya said it. And Kenya was like, no. I never initially said that. I said that she said that if you wouldn't have been married to Bob if he wasn't a football player. And, Phaedra was like, well, Kenya being Kenya, she always running back, telling other people business. And I'm like, right. I mean, I get why, like I said, I get why Kenya told Sheree, because she felt like it was like, girl code, which it kind of was. It was girl code. But at the same time, Kenya is the type who will always run and tell somebody's business and then wonder why the people that's involved, the parties involved, are upset with her. She wonders why she's always the center of drama, because she's always inserting herself into certain situations that don't concern her. Now, I see, they were speaking about Tammy. Tammy was brought up. Or whatever, but it was a little messy on Kenya's part. But Kenya was right in telling Sheree it was just a little messy. But Kim is just basically like, are we really having this conversation? That's old stuff. Why are we even talking about this? Y'all need to learn the difference between information and instigation. And I was like, right. So then when Kim said that, Kenya is like, oh, don't come for me or whatever. You trying to stir the pot, you trying to do that. And I'm like, no, don't get mad because Kim called you out on your BS. That's what first of all, okay, you taking the way you delivered the information, it was a little negative, and you are instigating the situation, which is, it shouldn't even be a situation to instigate, because Sheree and Bob are no longer married. They ain't been married in years. So, but I mean, yeah, the way she delivered it, she was instigating the issue. And so I get what I completely 100% agree with Kim. But Candy, I honestly feel like the only reason why she's mad at Kim, or she got a little upset with what Kim said, is because a lot of what Kim said was true. You instigating the situation, and you are. So, what else happened? So the next day, Kim is up early, having her own little praise and worship outside. I was like, yes. I was like, yes, Kim. Because, I mean, Kim, the reason why I like her on this show is because Kim is a different type of chick. Like, with these Atlanta girls, you're used to the shade. Because, these girls are the queens of shade. They're the queens of, being messy. And Kim is just not with that. She seems like she's very centered. Like she knows who well, we'll get to that. Not really that she knows who she is, but like she just lives her life a certain way. She's not about the drama. Basically, that's how Kim is. She's not about the drama. So Kim brings a sense of, sanity on this show, and that's what I like about her. Like, Kim is a real chick. Not to say that the other ladies aren't, but the other ladies are more animated than Kim is. Kim is like real life. You can relate to her. She's very relatable. Not to say you can't relate to the other ladies, but I'm saying she's like very relatable. Like, so Kenya and Sheree and Kim and Phaedra are discussing the whole convo at the dinner, and Kenya feels like Kim shouldn't have got involved. Like, she feels like Kim was like, she was like, well, Kim was saying you need to know the difference between information and instigation. She was like, the way you delivered the message was wrong. And she was like, how can you deliver a message that you deem negative, that's already negative, no matter how you deliver it? And I'm like, okay, that is true, but it is how you delivered it to her, because you were in the car with Tammy and you were asking Tammy questions, and then you took that information and you said it amongst you, Sheree, Cynthia, and Candy. So you basically was, not kind of sort of pumping Tammy for information so that you could run back and tell Sheree. That's messy. So, yeah, I agree. You were messy in this situation. So, Kenya's all in her feelings now talking about something. Oh, Kim don't want to come for me. This ain't what she want. And, Kim is like, she just feels like, Kenya was wrong in that sense. And Phaedra was like, yeah, I do agree with the whole information and instigation thing. She's like, yeah, I'm just telling it like it is because it was unnecessary for that to even be brought up. And I'm like, right. So, everybody comes down in their little bikinis and whatnot. All the ladies look nice in their cover-ups, whatever. Phaedra and Portia had to come and slay, because I think they bought the same cover-up when they went shopping earlier in the episode. I think they bought the same type of cover-up, just a little bit different. Phaedra had, like, the cover-up that went around her neck, and it, like, covered her body, but didn't cover her body. It was kind of reminiscent of when they went to Anguilla a couple of seasons ago. So, yeah, and Phaedra showing that body, and then here come Portia right behind her looking like a thought goddess, and I mean that with love. But they looked cute, like, for it to be like a bikini, like, it wasn't trashy. It was like very, like, what they do, very, Portia and Phaedra, like. And I thought it was sexy for them. Like, you in Miami, show off that body. Y'all are women in your 30s and 40s looking like, geez, them bodies. I need to see this. I need to go. Something is in the Georgia water. I need to go to Georgia and get me like a good few bottles of their water. And give me some Georgia food so I can have me a nice little rump like them. Because they got some booties in Georgia. And I seen it when I was out there. Chicks in Georgia got juicy booties. But anyway, yes, women look. We look at other women's booties too. Don't believe the hype. I know I do. So Candy lets the girls know that she's not going to go with them on the boat because the heat was getting to her, kind of made her dizzy or whatever. So she says she'll stay in the house and rest. And, Candy is like kind of feeling a little bit down because it's a lot of activities the ladies are doing that she would like to be included in. But she has to think about her health and her pregnancy first. And I'm like, I get it. Just stay in the house, rest, take a breather. So the ladies go to the yacht and they're having fun or whatever. They're doing handstands and twerking and all of that. And Kim is looking at them like, oh my God, like, what is this? And I'm sitting up there dying laughing at Kim's facial expressions the entire time. So, they're just dancing. And Portia comes across this guy named Oliver, cute little Latin guy. She was like, I like my coffee black, but I'll make an exception and add a little Latin spice to it. I'm like, right, because he was sexy. So, they're talking, and he's like, I'm Oliver, you from Atlanta. Like, they're just getting to know each other. So, Portia is like, enjoying herself, having fun, or whatever. All the girls are having fun, and Kim, she goes off on her own or whatever, and she's I guess like on the phone calling, texting her husband or whatever. So while everybody's dancing and having a good time, Kim drifts off, and she's like a little upset because she misses her husband and her kids. So she explains that to Phaedra. She's like, I'm out of my comfort zone, and I really wish, like, all this fun that, we're having, I wish I could share this with my husband. No offense to you ladies, but this seems like a trip that I would really enjoy better with my husband. And Phaedra is like, if my husband was good to me, like your husband is good to you too, I would be missing him too. So Phaedra basically sympathizes with Kim missing her husband. And she's like, Kim kind of felt bad because she's like, here I am crying about missing my husband. But, at least when I go home, I can go home to my husband. Your husband is away in prison. So, she apologized real quick and was like, I'm sorry, but, we're talking about me. How are you doing? And Phaedra's like, some days it's hard. Some days I just gotta, put on my big girl panties and just go on about it. Like, I just really wish that, we weren't in this situation because I feel like we had it all and he just screwed it up. Like, I feel like he feels like his wife and his kids was not enough for him to stay out of trouble. So, this is the life I'm living now. I deal with it the best way I can. It's hard. It really does get hard, but I just do it and I don't think about it. So Phaedra giving Kim that advice, like, this is one of the steps to finding yourself. This is one of the steps that you have to take to finding yourself. I really thought Phaedra was dope for doing that. And I'm like, people always got something to say about Phaedra, but me personally, I think Phaedra is a cool friend because she doesn't even really know Kim like that, but she can see so much of herself in Kim, and she's basically giving Kim good advice. And me watching Kim, I'm like, you are so wrapped up in your husband and your kids, you're forgetting that you have to find your own individuality, because guess what? When your kids grow up and they go into college and all of that and they leave the nest and your husband, he gets busy with work or whatever, where are you going to be? You're going to be miserable because you don't know who you are. So now is the time to start finding what makes Kim happy. It doesn't mean you have to abandon your family to do so. You just have to find what makes you happy. And like I said, I see so much of myself in Kim because I'm going through the same exact thing. But I'm getting back to the things that make me happy. I'm back to work. I'm, vlogging on the regular. I'm trying to get out and hang out more, just doing things that make me happy again so that I can get out of my funk of, losing myself, because losing yourself is no fun. Losing yourself is no fun. And then trying to get that person you once were back, it is hard work. So Kim has her work cut out for her, but I believe in her and she's going to make it through and she's going to do it. Kim is a good person. So, so when they got back with the ladies, they were asking, like, where were you guys? And, Kim was like, I just had a moment where I was missing my husband or whatever. Here come Kenya and her opinion. You've been away from your husband for 2 days and you missing him like that? Girl, get your life. There's women out here who dying for, they husband to take the kids away so they could have fun. Girl, get your life. And I'm like, Kenya, you're not married. Shut up. Again, with you and your opinions of married people. So what? Shut up. She hasn't been away from her husband for more than a night. So she's not used to this. Just because you've never been married, it doesn't give you the right to have, formulate an opinion because of you saying that she's missing her husband or whatever, because you guys, like, Kenya just always got something to say about people and married problems. Like, Kenya needs some more single friends because she just be all up in married folks' business. Like, she know what goes on in their house. Like, she know, like, she live with them or whatever. And she irks my soul. Stop, Nyla. So, Cynthia was like, oh, Kim's been away from her husband all the 15 minutes and she's missing him. Meanwhile, Peter is working. He has a business out in Charlotte and he has an apartment out there. I hope her and her husband never go into the restaurant business. And I'm like, well, Cynthia, you might not want to compare y'all situations because, red flag right there. Peter got an apartment in Charlotte. That wouldn't be going on. He got an apartment in Charlotte. You don't know what he doing in that Charlotte apartment. And Charlotte is how many hours away from Georgia? I don't think it's like a lot. I think it's like 2-3 hours, I think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but nah. An apartment? Nope. Wouldn't be happening. I would be with him at that apartment every chance I got, but whatever. Especially y'all going through what y'all going through. So anyway, they wondering where Tammy is. Tammy comes with her nephew named Glenn and his friend Jerron. So, Kenya's like, oh, Glenn is cute. So they're asking Glenn all kinds of questions. And they're like, well, what do you do? And he's like, well, I play basketball. I'm in training camp right now. I'm not on a team. I have to pick a team. But I did play for the Wizards at one point. So, they're just talking with him or whatever. So when they get back on the boat, Phaedra was like, somebody said, well, we're, bringing people back to the house. This should be fun. And Phaedra was like, well, don't speak too soon because, it get crazy sometimes with this group of ladies. So lo and behold, they get on the boat and they're about to play Never Have I Ever. Kenya went like this to Glenn. She was like, hey, young buck, what's your name again? So he was like, I know you didn't just snap at me. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just trying to get your attention. You know, I wasn't trying to be rude. And he was like, well, you got to get my attention another way. And then it cut off right there. And Kenya was left looking dumbfounded. And I'm like, that's right. Put her in her place, because Kenya does not know. Kenya, I don't like Kenya. Y'all, as y'all can tell, I do not like Kenya. But Kenya feel like she could do it and say whatever she wants to the people, and they just supposed to accept it. So I was so proud of Glenn for being like, yeah, you got to find another way to get my attention, because snapping at me, I don't do those. And I'm like, yes. So next week, it looked like it's going to be crazy. You know, remember, Kenya said that Glenn was cute and Glenn was her type, and it looked like Glenn is going to make them uncomfortable and something major going to happen next week. So I was like, I'm here for it. But that was tonight's episode. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend, and I will see you in the next video. Later.